Then thank you very much for joining me today, Hugo and Francisco. It's super nice to meet you. I'm very excited to hear a little bit more about your proposal and what you're trying to build on Cardano and on NMaker, of course. And yeah, before we start, maybe do you want to give a quick introduction to yourself? How did you get into crypto? What are you doing in the like non-crypto world and so on?
Hugo, do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I'm not the usual crypto enthusiast. I have a farming background. I'm a farm consultant, but I'm also really into to technology. So I like to be up to date with the latest tech news. I have my own farm management software that I built a few years ago. And I came into crypto about a year and a half ago, more or less, as a passive user. And this would be my first experience on a more professional level in crypto.
Yeah, and so me, basically, Hugo is saying that he's not very much into this, but for me, he's the geekest possible. I am not into, the NFT part, not so much, but the crypto a little bit more. It came to me the first time I started using and trading a bit of crypto and so on. It was about 2 years ago. I really see this as, and most of all, this NFT part, I really do see this as a potential solution for potential problems in the world, because this is a whole new ball game. And what I see here is a huge opportunity for people like us. I mean, we come from the field. I've been working in forestry for a long time and marketing now. I work in the CO2 and carbon capturing industry. So, in the end, we were having lunch one day, and I said, Hugo, you're so much into this. Why don't we learn a little bit more, and we go forward with what could actually be something different and an answer for such a huge problem that we see nowadays with this forestry ecosystems going down and wildfires coming up. So yeah, basically, this is not so much my presentation, but what I think we can gain from this.
I really like that answer, actually, because the reality is most people in crypto and Cardano in general are tech people, right? Like me. I'm a programmer, and I have, of course, no idea about either farming or like forestry. And the thing is, though, that crypto is designed to solve actual real problems in the real world, and that's where we need experts like you that just say, okay, I know a little bit about crypto, I know, of course, the field that I'm in, and now I'm coming here to propose a solution and build something that just solves my problems, essentially. And with that, you can just use it and onboard people. So that's really cool.
And another thing there, if I may, sorry.
Of course.
Another thing there is, I feel like a lot of let's say crypto people, I would say, and techies and people who are a lot into this and know a lot about this, but and they do see like the outside. I mean, there are problems. We all see them, climate change and all. How can I change? How can I do something about it? And Hugo, in that moment, said to me, "Look, this is a huge community. If we can get to 2% of this, there's a really big chance that we can actually get some money from these NFTs to plant a real forest and make a difference in this. It's and it blown my mind. I think we have something very strong here.
I think you might be right. So I think that's a very good way to talk about your proposal now. So what's the actual idea? What do you want to create, and how are you going to do it?
So the basic idea, or let's say the basic problem is that if you make a forest, needs to be sustainable in terms of, business wise. You have to make money from it. And the ways we see, and still in Portugal, we have this very particular kind of forest with cork oaks. I don't know if you are familiar with that, but it's an oak from where you extract cork for bottles and for NASA and stuff like that. And that's a very interesting kind of forest because you can keep it as it is. It's quite sustainable. You don't need to cut the trees or anything. And we see that this is a very interesting model that we have in Portugal. But still, there is the problem of the financial parts, because you need a lot of work. You need to wait many, many years until you get the first cork out of these trees. And so it's a problem. So my idea in the beginning was, how can we raise money to plant a forest that will keep a biotope healthy? We can guarantee that we will have more like a more interesting ecosystem. Animals will join, we'll have different kinds of plants. But how can we maintain this if we don't have money? Because the first years you have to cut a little bit here, cut a little bit there. You have to water the plants so that they actually grow and make a forest out of themselves. We need protection against wild boars. We need access to water because of the fires. So how do we get money to do this? And just the idea here is not to take any money from the forest, it's just to have money to put in the forest and to guarantee it will be there for decades to come, and that people can actually be part of this. Because if you buy one of these NFTs, you will be, well, not the owner of, let's say, a square meter, but maybe you're the owner of one tree. And that tree is actually capturing CO2 that we can measure and tell you, every month you have captured this, you've helped here or there. So I think the possibilities here are really big. We can. There's a lot of
Yes,
engagement to come with it.
and if I may,
Yeah.
one thing that we noticed was that there are some projects that tend to have a similar approach to this one, but most of those projects end up planting forests in underdeveloped countries. Like also when you buy carbon credits, developed countries, companies in developed countries tend to buy carbon credits from underdeveloped countries. So you're not actually solving something. You're just greenwashing. You're not putting the biodiversity where it's needed. You're just paying someone to have it there. And actually, about a week before we submitted our proposal, it was quite interesting because I saw this news about ESA, the European um, European
Environmental
environmental
Association or something.
agency, yeah,
Agent, yeah.
EEA, and they published a report where they say that 80% of Europe's habitats are basically gone. Uh, so in here we have intense agriculture, we have intense industry, and we are lacking those habitats. We are lacking biodiversity. So this would solve that, because we will create um, microforests spread across places where you have intense agriculture, and thus bringing biodiversity back to those places. So we are stopping greenwashing, and we are placing biodiversity where it's needed, basically.
Yeah. And also there is, I don't know, Patrick, if you saw, we have two other projects that we submitted. So we are separating this in 3 stages. And stage 1 is basically to make like a model of a microforest. When we say microforest, could be from 1 hectare to 10 hectares. So nothing much bigger than that, because then we need to, there's the acquisition of the land and so on. And so it's quite a bit of money involved. But when we do this, we want to make this model that can be replicable in here, in Spain, in France, in Holland, in Switzerland, where you are. The only difference would be like some specifics the types of plants that you will put there, but that's the kind of information that it's easy to access. Even nowadays, I mean, you go to ChatGPT and you ask what are the main trees in Switzerland and the primal forest in Switzerland, it will tell you. So but even though we have, like in Portugal, we actually have nice contacts with agency for environmental protection, and you have the kind of knowledge there and people that will advise you well how to do it. And so this can be a replicable model. And the huge difference from this to where we are right now is that this will make money available for people to plant and keep a forest.
Great. Yeah. I mean, I think it sounds really interesting and sounds like it's actually solving a real problem. It's essentially crowdfunding a forest, right? If we put it in 3 words, which is cool, and I like it a lot. And hopefully it will actually happen, and you are able to make this a reality, because I think that's what we need. Just some less greenwashing and less things that seem like they are helping the world but actually aren't, right?
Yeah. And then we saw some examples of other NFTs, because we made a little benchmarking about it, and we saw some other examples of NFTs that plant, or they propose to plant forest with that money. And most of them, there's this idea of, and I understand it. I mean, one NFT has to be valued at some value at the beginning, and then people in tendency, and they usually want it to become more and more valuable in time. The thing here, I mean, it can become more valuable, but the thing here, I think it has a lot to do with how people feel when they're buying this, because they're actually helping, and so someone in your chair, I mean, Patrick Dollar in Switzerland can help this problem buying an NFT from us. We will make it happen.
That's wonderful. Great. So I'm going to end the recording here. Thank you so much for joining us. I think it was very interesting, and I think we took like 10 minutes explaining it, and I got the concept perfectly. So I hope others will too, and I can't wait to see how the voting goes.